home on Football Friday nights on 1260 AM, 95.7 WNXT FM in Portsmouth. Sportsmouth, they call it down
Sportsmouth.
here,
I
Sarge.
know
They're
they're
ready for this one.
I know they're real familiar with what they've got over in Chuck Greenslate. What a character he is. Your guys are going to hear plenty from him later on in today's show because Chuck and I had a fantastic conversation yesterday about some of the history here because as many of you will know, they have played National Football League games here. There have been college games here.
Right.
There have been a number of key games at every single level of football. We're going to do a deep dive into some of the history. That's coming on a little bit later in the program today. But let's start off first with just taking a quick zoom out. I think we'll start out with some of these conference standings that we've got in and around Southeast Ohio. Eric, why don't you lead us off with the FAC where we're gearing up towards that big showdown?
Yeah, I mean, we're gearing up for something special in Week 9 between Jackson and Miami Trace. That's who's sitting atop the conference right now, each at 2-0 respectively. Chillicothe is 1-1, followed by Washington Courthouse at the 5-6 spots. 0-2 McLean and 0-2 Hillsboro. That's going to be a Week 10 showdown. That's a fun rivalry there. So fun slate coming up in the FAC, but it is competitive in that conference.
Extremely
competitive.
right. I think those two 1-1 teams both got big games today, and both I think will feel pretty good, even though they are 1-1, about maybe pulling an upset, and especially those Chillicothe Cavaliers.
Yes.
We'll talk about them a little bit later on in the program. Let's jump over to the SVC here, where again you've got a top dog in the Unioto, Sherman Tanks, who got a big win last week, 19-0 over their nearest competition at the moment in the Zane Trace Pioneers.
Yeah, that's their nearest competition, but they're really a step above everyone. They've only given up 21 points all season. They sit atop the SVC right now in the 1 spot. Zane Trace respectfully in that 2. Westfall in the 3 at 2-1, followed by Adena also 2-1. Westfall and Huntington's going to be a fun matchup as well. Huntington 1-2, looking to emerge themselves a little higher in the SVC, followed by Piketon at 1-2, Southeastern at 0-3, and then of course Paint Valley at 0-3 as well, who's had their struggles throughout the year.
Yeah, big one between the Mustangs and the Huntsmen tonight.
Yeah.
A lot of playoff implications in that game as well. Not
Playoffs?
just, I know. Can't you be in it wild? 2 weeks from now, we'll be on Football Friday night. We'll be breaking down those
We
brackets.
even brought Jim Mora with us.
Jim Mora.
He's
Show
here
the
with us.
camera.
He's
Jim
here with us.
Mora
Jim
is
Mora's with
here.
us. Playoffs?
Jim Mora is
Yeah,
here.
baby.
And we're going to be breaking it all down. We're going to get to playoff brackets in just a second. Don't you worry. We're going to have you covered on that department as well. Let's go to the TVC real quick, where we've got a big one tonight in the TVC Hawking. Trimble takes on Eastern. This is a big game for both of these schools. Waterford's got Trimble next week. Waterford's got Federal Hawking tonight. They'll be expected to win that game. Waterford's currently the top dog, or should I say cat, in this conference. But you've got another set of cat and a set of birds that are going after them hard, even with Waterford beating Eastern a couple weeks ago.
I'm glad you mentioned Waterford. What a fun 3-team race this is shaping up to be in the TVC Hawking. Waterford sits atop at 2-0, but make no mistake about it, just behind them is Trimble at 2, or tied with them is Trimble at 2-0, Eastern Megs at 1-1. Again, that's going to be a huge game tonight. Belpre at 0-1, Southern at 0-2, Fed Hawk at 0-2. That's the bottom half of the conference, but that top 3, awesome football.
Really, really good. And then you look over on the other side. It feels okay to say, even if they will slip up, which I doubt that they will, we are barreling towards. I used this exact alliteration on the Athens County Coaches Show earlier this week. It feels like 2 trains, right? 2 speeding maglev trains that are on the same set of tracks, and they are headed for a collision point. And that collision point is Joe Burrow Stadium, and the date of collision is 2 weeks from tonight. And it is Nelsonville, York, and it is Athens. Both of those schools are 7-0. Both of them are 3-0 in the conference. I mean, the hype around this game already is ridiculous. We haven't even gotten to game week, so just keep that in mind. Let's talk about the conference we're going to discuss a lot today, the SOC1. We've obviously got the 2 unbeatens in this conference still going. They're not just unbeaten in the conference, of course. They have got unbeaten records overall, but you've got 2 1-1 teams that I think have a lot still to play for in Sims Valley and South Gallia.
Yeah, two teams that definitely right now they're trying to hope that something crazy happens exactly where we're standing tonight, and then try to make something happen. But yeah, Eastern and Notre Dame both 2-0. Sims Valley and South Gallia 1-1 respectively. In that 2nd to 4th spot, that's getting real fun. But again, could be a shakeup here just a couple of hours away. Followed by Green, followed by East, who again their seasons are just kind of get through it. Look to basketball at this point. I think tough seasons for those squads.
Absolutely. Let's go to the SOC2, where you do have a clear leader in the clubhouse, but they're not alone at the top of the standings. Wheelersburg always do the thing that they do where they're just not
Yeah.
quite that good early in the year, except this year they just skipped the first step and they just barreled through that, and they're 7-0, and they've steamrolled almost everybody in front of them, including the reigning state champions and the Ironton Fighting Tigers. But while Portsmouth West had some ups and some downs early in the year, they've been a very streaky team, as have the Portsmouth Trojans, who we'll talk about in just a second. But Portsmouth West currently sits at 3-0 in the SOC1. They've beaten the teams they were supposed to beat in this conference. Look, every other team in this conference is 1-2. Valley, Northwest, Minford, Oak Hill, Waverly, all sitting at 1 win and 2 losses in this. Wheelersburg, Portsmouth West play in a couple weeks. Big game. Big game.
Yep.
And obviously, Wheelersburg will be heavily favored, but do not rule out the Senators causing a shock. And then you get to the Conference of Chaos, the OVC.
Yes.
There are no rules. There's very little to go off of. It's pure chaos. Almost everybody in this conference has at least one win in the conference, with the exception of the Chesapeake Panthers, who struggled a bit this year.
Sure.
But the only unbeaten right now is is Rock Hill unbeaten in the conference? No, they're not. I feel like they might.
Unbeaten in the conference.
They're unbeaten in the conference. Or Colegrove and
Wait,
Rock
no.
Hill.
Rock Hill's 2-1 in the conference. I got to go back and see who. So many games played at this point.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Not sure. I do know that Colegrove is unbeaten because their 2 losses are to out-of-conference teams. Actually, I feel like they're flipped. I feel like Rock Hill beat Colegrove. Maybe I'm wrong. We're going to have to double-check that during the break. But I know it's tight up that. But the team that I have my eye on right now, and I'm going to talk about them later on, is the Portsmouth Trojans are starting to play really good football at the right time. They're playing really well defensively. They've only given up, I believe, 20-something points over the last 3 games. They're starting to find that balance, and the offense is starting to get going, which is a concern if you're on the opposite sideline, because that offense has been dormant all year. The name Fernando Pojes is starting to strike some fear into people around the 7-4-0. We're going to talk about the monster performance that he had last week a little later on in the show. So that'll take it through most of the conferences. Real quick hit on the Mid-State League. You got a couple of the usual suspects up there at the top. Bloom Carroll at 5-2. They're unbeaten. Hamilton Township is at 6-1. They're also unbeaten. Those 2 play, I believe, either this week or next week. Big game when that one comes to town. Then you've got Circleville and Amanda Clear Creek. Both of those are kind of hanging around with their Fairfield Union. Then Logan Elm Liberty Union struggling down near the bottom of the conference. Let's real quickly hit some of these big playoff brackets because a couple of them are wild. We'll start out in Region 11, where, again, this Athens squad is unbeaten, but they are on the last spot in right now, which is wild because they look. And a couple people have doomed and said, oh well, they might go 10-0 and miss. Spoiler alert, they're not. If they win out, they have a 97% chance to make the postseason. So crazy that's not 100, but 97% chance to make the postseason. If they beat Nelsonville York, though, just a 32% chance at a home playoff game. Still very low.
Right.
And you can't afford any other mistakes. Look, the next 2 weeks, they've got River Valley and Wellston. They should be taking care of business.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, it all leads to that Nelsonville game. And look, even with a loss in that game, they're still likely in. They got about an 81% chance, but it's not a guarantee at 9-1, which is wild.
Yeah. Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, you said everything. They've done everything right.
Yeah.
They've beat everyone they need to beat.
It's huge. Region 12 is chaotic. You've got 5 teams that are unbeaten at 7-0 at the top of this conference. Tippecanoe, London, Baden, Miami Trace, and Talawanda all sit unbeaten. Those are all really good schools. And then right behind them are 2 more really good schools that have losses. Archbishop Alter and Archbishop McNichols. Talked about McNick early in the year. Their 2 losses are to 2 fantastic schools down in Region 19, Bergen Ironton. And then you've got Jackson and Chillicothe right behind those 2. So a lot of chaos here. Chillicothe's got a lot of big chances here late in the year. So do Jackson. Both of those schools, again, those 2 play each other. There'll be a lot of points on the line. Could be a conference title on the line.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other things. And then you got Trace. Obviously, they took down Chillicothe a couple weeks ago. They've got a huge opportunity coming up against Jackson next week, but we're going to talk about it. You can't look ahead. You cannot look ahead. You got to keep the blinders on, and you've got to keep moving forward. Let's jump up to Region 15 real quick. Westfall is just on the outside looking in right now at the 13th position, so they really need to try to find a way to win this game tonight against Huntington. They just keep winning if they want to make the postseason. I think right now Drew Bestor's got them at about a 70% chance to get a postseason spot, but they got to win the games if they want to get in. In Region 16, I'm keeping an eye on Courthouse. Right now they're in. They're in that number 9 spot. This is a very top-heavy region. You've got your Indian Hills and your Tafts, who are very, very good. But the middle of this region is, I think, attainable for Washington Courthouse to get in and make the postseason. And let's jump down into Region 19, where the big story right now in this region, and it's not just this is a statewide story, is Harvest Prep right now had a game canceled today against Akron St. Vincent St. Mary. they are only going to technically have 7 accredited OHSAA games, which is technically below the limit. You technically have to play 8 to be accredited for the postseason. They had a bye week a couple weeks ago. They played a team from Canada last week, which doesn't count towards the OHSAA, and now you've got this cancellation. There are rumors that there will be a quote-unquote pass given to them by the OHSAA due to unforeseen circumstances, which I guess. But they're still, and even with that pass, it's still not a guarantee. They have to beat Westerville South next week if they want to win this game. And if they want to get into the postseason, all their points are on the line. They play KIPP Columbus at week 10. They've got no wins. That's not going to help them out. Look at the rest of this. Valley and Portsmouth right now occupy those last 2 spots in the region. So they're going to just need to keep winning. And then Nelsonville York as well. Got to try and keep winning if they want one of those buys in the region as well. Let's jump down to Region 23, where Fort Fry currently sit 1 spot out of that bye position. They're in the 5th spot. This is another good region. Some really good schools from the northern, kind of the northeastern part of the state that creep down into 23. West Jefferson are really good again. That passing attack is back to being at its best. Colonel Crawford was really good last year. They're back up in and around things. Ridgewood is another one that a lot of people will remember as being quite good. They're back in and amongst the chaos here in this region. So plenty of stuff to go for here in 24. Look who's at the top. How about the Rock Hill squad by Tony Love? They're 6-1 on the year. Just got to keep winning. They're above Coldwater, which is pretty wild to me, who are, again, one of the dominant teams in Division 6, not just Region 24, Division 6. Then finally, let's go down to Region 27 and 28. In 27, you've got a couple of familiar squads, Fisher Catholic, Waterford in that 3 spot right now. If they just keep winning, they're going to probably get a bye in that region, which will be great for them to get healthy with, how physically they play with Hayden Jones at quarterback. Sims Valley tumbles a little bit after that loss last week to Beaver Eastern. They fall down into the 5th position. Trimble sitting good in that 6th spot right now, and South Gallia down in the 10th position. Down in 28, you've got these 2 schools, and this is why this game is so crucial today. Beaver Eastern and Notre Dame at 3 and 4 in the playoff points in Region 28. So there is a ton on the line between these 2 schools, not just the pole position and front runner for the conference championship, but potentially a bye in the postseason. And look, when you may run into a St. Henry or Marion local later on in the postseason, you better be as rested as you possibly can be. So it's going to be really interesting to see who comes out on top in these matchups. We're going to step aside for the first time today on Football Friday Kickoff. When we return, we're going to have plenty more. We're going to start out some of our game previews. There's some mouth-watering matchups around the 7-4-0 this evening that we're going to sink our teeth into. You're listening to Football Friday Kickoff.
It takes determination to create a successful business. It's never easy, but always worth it. It takes making a leap of faith. It takes patience and late nights to reinvest in a startup. But it also takes asking for guidance from dependable people. All to turn a dream into a reality. People's Bank. Working together, building success.
At Slark's Collision Center, we're more than a body shop. We're your neighbors, right here at the intersection of US 32 and State Route 93. We're proud to serve Jackson with honest work and hometown care. Locally owned and community trusted, our team of technicians combine years of experience with the latest technology, delivering quality repairs every time. Seamless repairs and stress-free claims. Our friendly team of experts work directly with insurance companies, so you don't have to, getting you safely back on the road. Visit us at 965 East Main Street in Jackson, Ohio, right at the intersection of US 32 and State Route 93, and experience our commitment to excellence. The Slarks Automotive Family, here for you when you need us.
Hi, my name is Isaac Slark.
I'm Max Gentry.
And I'm Dan Neff.
Together, we founded Southern Iowa Souls, a nonprofit helping students in need.
We work in 28 school buildings to identify students in need of a new pair of shoes, then deliver shoes to those students to help them learn, play, and grow confidently.
Since our beginning in 2023, we've been able to donate nearly 400 pairs of brand name sneakers. Without support from our community, this simply wouldn't be possible.
Scan the QR code or visit www.southerniosouls.com to donate today.
Willis Advantage Property Solutions delivers dependable, full-service property maintenance you can trust. We specialize in asphalt repair, infrared patching, surface cleaning, parking lot striping, and powerful hydrojet drain cleaning. serving industrial, commercial, and residential customers across the region. From small fixes to large-scale projects, we get the job done right, on time, and on budget. Call now for your free consultation at 740-577-4574. Willis Advantage Property Solutions. We protect and maintain what matters.
At Slark's Collision Center, we're more than a body shop. We're your neighbors, right here at the intersection of US 32 and State Route 93. We're proud to serve Jackson with honest work and hometown care. Locally owned and community trusted, our team of technicians combine years of experience with the latest technology, delivering quality repairs every time. Seamless repairs and stress-free claims. Our friendly team of experts work directly with insurance companies, so you don't have to, getting you safely back on the road. Visit us at 965 East Main Street in Jackson, Ohio, right at the intersection of US 32 and State Route 93, and experience our commitment to excellence. The Slarks Automotive Family, here for you when you need us.
You've been watching Football Friday Night, sponsored by Slarks Automotive Services.
See this program continue to grow. We appreciate every single one of you out there who's tuning in via those ears, or if you're watching us on the stream and you got to deal with this mug, I appreciate it. But we got plenty of games to talk about. We're going to get into our game previews now. If you are watching on YouTube and maybe you missed some of those previews, the nice thing is YouTube's got a little rewind feature. You can go back and watch those last couple seconds. And if you're listening on the radio and you missed those previews and you missed some of the standings and the playoff positionings of some of these schools, well, you can go hop on our Total Media Sports YouTube. You can rewind that stream and you can come all the way back and figure out where your team is at. We're going to talk about some of these big games. Let's start out in the Frontier Athletic Conference. This conference is electric this year. Some of the best players in our coverage area reside in this conference, and it's crazy because you're so used to them coming from Jackson, and by the way, there are some real studs over there playing for the Ironmen this year, but some of those big dogs are an Ironman this year, and that's what's kind of shook the power balance a little bit in this conference, and that's what I say, you can't knock the king off the throne until you take the hammer and knock him off yourself.
You got to do it.
And look, a couple of teams are going to want to try and have a hack at these Ironman these couple weeks. Let's talk about that game. Let's start that off with over on 96.7 WKOV. Dan and Pete, the guys, been doing it for decades. They'll be doing it for decades more. It's Jackson and Washington Courthouse tonight. Classic, FAC game. These two teams actually haven't seen each other very often over the years. They actually played a few games back in the 30s and 40s, and then there's about a 70-year gap, and then they started to play each other again when the FAC formed and Jackson came into the league about 7 or 8 years ago. So Jackson leads the all-time series 9-3, and they've actually won the last 8 meetings between these two schools. Last year was a 42-0 walloping by the Ironmen. The big story for Jackson this week is the continued health and prosperity of Bodie Wolford. Obviously, there was some real concern. We talked about this a little bit last week that he might, have an injury that could really affect him. And yes, it is affecting him, but he is playing at a really high level, and that's what Jackson needs to continue to get for Bodie Wolford. Is they need him to stay healthy and they need him to be at his best.
Yeah, they do. And you mentioned Dan, and Pete. They're going to long outlive all of us, just so we're all on the same page there. At least the legacy of Dan, and Pete. But you're right. You mentioned Bodie Wolford. I think Bodie Wolford is back. I think he's ready to rock. I think he's locked and loaded for these final 3 games. He's shown me everything he needs to show me. The arm strength is still there. Andy Hall's still very confident in the capability of that arm. And by the way, Ryan Simet's on the other end of it. He's okay with Bodie Wolford being back in the swing of things as well. But I want to look across the field for just a moment.
Please do. I'm glad you're bringing this up.
Another quarterback. You mentioned guys that are shifting the power in the FAC. Sam Pfeiffer's that guy. He's thrown for 1,800 yards, 23 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and he's got a young Jackson defense in front of him this evening, albeit improving week to week in that young Ironman core. It's a young Jackson defense. It'll be interesting to see what they do to get after Sam Pfeiffer.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about what Pfeiffer has done is he has weapons, and you didn't mention this. Sam Pfeiffer's a sophomore.
Yeah.
His top weapon is a junior. So these guys are going to be balling for a couple of years here at Courthouse. Again, you got Chuck Williamson coming back into that program. He was legendary there for so many years. He brings them back, and he's brought them back into serious relevancy. It's been a couple of years of toiling last couple seasons for the Blue Lions. This year, they are an issue, especially offensively. Put up a lot of points last week against a good Chillicothe defense. the guys on the outside to know they've actually got 3 solid options. The guy that gets most of the headlines is Aiden Osborne. He's got 51 catches for 843 yards. That's just about 16 and a half yards per pop and about 120 yards per game. He's got 9 scores. All of those 23 touchdowns have been to these 3 guys. The other 2 guys, they've each got 7 touchdowns apiece. Noah Haithcock, he's got 41 catches, 431 yards, and 7 scores. And then Bryson Heath's got 22 catches for 296 yards and 7 scores as well. So you've got those 3 options. And look, the thing at the high school level, a lot of teams can't go 3 receivers deep. Thus, a lot of secondaries can't go 3 corners deep. And that's a tough thing to deal with when you've got a lot of those weapons on the outside. Some guys tonight for Jackson might have to make plays they're not used to making.
Yeah, they're going to have to. And Jackson's going to have to get pressure up front and on the edges on these receivers. Don't let the receivers get comfortable for Washington Courthouse. You mentioned that there's a plethora of them. Aiden Osborne can run the football as well. He's got 3 rushing touchdowns as well, so he can tote the rock. They don't run the football a lot, so you got to make sure that your guys in the secondary are good. But this game starts with pressure on Sam Pfeiffer. Make them uncomfortable. You'll be okay if you're Ironman fans. But we'll see. That's why they play the game.
That is. It's going to be a fun one out there. It's out in Courthouse tonight between the Ironmen and Washington Courthouse. A couple of long road trips next couple of weeks for Jackson. Again, that big one coming up next week against Miami Trace. Let's quickly talk about that Miami Trace squad. They're over on WVNU tonight. They're taking on the McLean Tigers out there. Miami Trace, the most interesting thing about this Trace squad is they've been doing this in such a hard-nosed and unique way. They just flat out do not throw the football. Right? They don't. They don't have, I mean, last year they had Trey Robinette, who was a very capable quarterback. This year, they've had a couple different guys jump into that spot. They don't have that proven guy that they trusted to throw the ball like they did when they had Trey Robinette last year. So they just said, you know what? They just took all of the passing plays and they just threw them out of the playbook. Right? There's maybe a couple of screens in there, a couple of swing passes in case they need to throw the ball. They are relying on that offensive line, led by Adam Guthrie, and they are relying on Julian Baker, who's got 1,000 yards already on the season. He's got 17 touchdowns. And get this, you can. I'm going to preface this by saying you could judge this stat however you kind of want. Pancakes are a little bit of an objective stat, but it's really the only way for offensive linemen. Besides, if you're a coach and you're watching film, it's really the only way for them to quantify stats. Adam Guthrie's got 84 of them things. So he's cooking a whole lot of pancakes.
Through 8 weeks of football, 7 weeks of football.
He is cooking a whole lot of pancakes this year. And that Trace line, again, it's not just Guthrie. That's the big thing with them is they've got so many guys on that front, and it's why they run the ball so well. They've got a couple of backs who do great things on the ground, and it's a scary thing to stop.
They run the football well. They run it in versatile ways. And you mentioned the screens and the quick, short passes. Those are extensions of the run game. We talk about that all the time as well. Miami Trace is a force to be reckoned with, but we talk about this just about every week. Corey Dye, the addition of Corey Dye to this squad. He's a great defensive mind. He's helping out this unit quite a bit. I think the defense for Miami Trace is much improved.
It is.
And it could be the difference maker in week 9.
And that cost a big last year, especially late in that season. They just struggled to get pressure. That's why they lost. You can point at the loss of Guthrie in that game to injury as to maybe part of the reason why they lose that game to Jackson, but that defense just struggled down the stretch in that game. And Guthrie is a big part of that defense too. But they just could not contain that passing attack for the Jackson Ironmen. We'll see if they can do that next week, but they got to take care of the Tigers first, who will be feisty and looking to cause an upset tonight. Finally, we'll stay in the FAC. We'll get this last game in the conference between Hillsborough and Chillicothe, a couple of 4-3 squads who I think have had very good seasons. Hillsborough started the year really well. They've had a little bit of a slide, lost 2 of their last 3 games. Chillicothe have just stayed consistent all year long. And again, the story right now for the Cavaliers is this star running back, Carte Ligon, 167 carries, 1,433 yards. That's 8.6 yards a carry. That is 204.7 yards per game and 17 touchdowns. This kid is a sophomore. He just got an offer from the University of Miami a couple days ago. Not that, I'm going to recuse, that little university over there in Oxford. Again, go Bobbies. But that university down in Miami that just so happens to be the number 2 ranked team in the nation right now. He's got interest from Ohio State. He's got interest from all the big schools in and around the country. And look, if he keeps putting up 200-plus yards a game, there's going to be a whole lot more offers on that sheet that currently holds 10 Division I offers.
You're exactly right. And you mentioned the consistency for Coach Carper and his offense. It's very easy to be consistent when you got a guy like Carte Ligon that you can turn around, hand the ball off to, and just watch him make plays. Night in and night out, the offensive line for Chillicothe is getting a little bit better each week. I like what I'm seeing from that group as well. They're going to be a force to be reckoned with in the FAC week to week. We see them continue to hang around. Well, they may hang around just long enough to be involved in the conference title, at least a portion of it in week 10.
This is a pace of play game.
Yeah.
I said this earlier. This is absolutely a game where the team that controls the time of the possession will likely win this football game because of the ground games in this. And for Hillsborough, right, they have 209 passing yards, not last week, not last month, all season. 209. That's about, you divide that by 7. I'm not very good at math, but that's not a lot of passing yards a game. They do, however, have almost 2,000 rushing yards on the season. They've got 5 different backs that can hold the ball. Trey Captain is the guy who leads them. He averages about 100 a game. Their quarterback, Mason Dumpert, he can run the ball. So they are a run-first offense. They do a lot of those option looks. They get tricky with it up in the front. They've got a good offensive line. So for me, again, I think it's going to come down to that physicality up front. Can Chillicothe hang with it? They've proven a couple times that they can, but Hillsborough is going to bring a different kind of edge tonight over in Chillicothe, home of the Cavaliers. That's where they'll be. You can find and listen to that one over on C103.7. Great crew out there getting all your Chillicothe news. We're going to step aside again here on Football Friday Kickoff, but when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about the history of this beautiful and historic stadium. I had a great conversation with Chuck Greenslade over in Portsmouth about just how much the stadium means and some of the awesome history surrounding this beautiful area. We'll have that when we come back. You're listening to Football Friday Kickoff.
At Clark's Collision Center, we're more than a body shop. We're your neighbors, right here at the intersection of US 32 and State Route 93. We're proud to serve Jackson with honest work and hometown care. Locally owned and community trusted, our team of technicians combine years of experience with the latest technology, delivering quality repairs every time. Seamless repairs and stress-free claims. Our friendly team of experts work directly with insurance companies, so you don't have to, getting you safely back on the road. Visit us at 965 East Main Street in Jackson, Ohio, right at the intersection of US 32 and State Route 93, and experience our commitment to excellence. The Slarks Automotive Family, here for you when you need us.
It takes determination to create a successful business. It's never easy, but always worth it. It takes making a leap of faith. It takes patience and late nights to reinvest in a startup. But it also takes asking for guidance from dependable people. All to turn a dream into a reality. People's Bank. Working together, building success.
Hi, my name is Isaac Slark.
I'm Max Gentry.
And I'm Dane Neff.
Together, we founded Southern Iowa Souls, a nonprofit helping students in need.
We work in 28 school buildings to identify students in need of a new pair of shoes, then deliver shoes to those students to help them learn, play, and grow confidently.
Since our beginning in 2023, we've been able to donate nearly 400 pairs of brand name sneakers. Without support from our community, this simply wouldn't be possible.
Scan the QR code or visit www.southerniosouls.com to donate today.
Willis Advantage Property Solutions delivers dependable, full-service property maintenance you can trust. We specialize in asphalt repair, infrared patching, surface cleaning, parking lot striping, and powerful hydrojet drain cleaning, serving industrial, commercial, and residential customers across the region. From small fixes to large-scale projects, we get the job done right, on time, and on budget. Call now for your free consultation at 740-577-4574. Willis Advantage Property Solutions. We protect and maintain what matters.
At Slark's Collision Center, we're more than a body shop. We're your neighbors, right here at the intersection of US 32 and State Route 93. We're proud to serve Jackson with honest work and hometown care. Locally owned and community trusted, our team of technicians combine years of experience with the latest technology, delivering quality repairs every time. Seamless repairs and stress-free claims. Our friendly team of experts work directly with insurance companies, so you don't have to, getting you safely back on the road. Visit us at 965 East Main Street in Jackson, Ohio, right at the intersection of US 32 and State Route 93, and experience our commitment to excellence. The Slarks Automotive Family, here for you when you need us.
You've been watching Football Friday Night, sponsored by Slarks Automotive Services.
Kickoff. I am Ethan Sargent. We're here at the historic Spartan Municipal Stadium, and that truly is the word to describe the stadium. It is historic. The stadium has been standing for very nearly 100 years. It's going to celebrate its 100-year anniversary in 3 years from now in 2028. And in full disclosure, it needs a little bit of help, right? And it's going to get some help in the form of Shawnee State University, who's going to come in here in the very near future, make it their own for their very new burgeoning football program in the near future. And it's great because this is a historic landmark that a lot of people hold very near and dear to their hearts, and it is meaningful that it gets some of those necessary changes. I had the chance to sit down with Chuck Greenslate, again, a legend out in the Portsmouth area, to discuss some of the awesome history around this area. Just to put a cap on it before I play this interview, the big thing about it, and for my baseball fans out there, you'll remember and you'll know that there are two Yankee stadiums, right? There is the current Yankee Stadium, which of course the Yankees have played in since 2009, and there is the old Yankee Stadium, where the Yankees just so happened to win almost 20 major MLB World Series titles. The architect for the old Yankee Stadium is actually the same. It's an architectural firm. It is the same firm that helped design Spartan Municipal Stadium. It is an awesome coincidence. Chuck told me that after the interview, and he's like, you got to throw that in somewhere. And look, full disclosure, I'm a Yankees fan. I had to throw that in there because I thought that was awesome. But in any case, Chuck's got a ton of awesome facts in this little sit down that I had with him, breaking down some of the amazing history surrounding this beautiful stadium. We're continuing to get ready for this high-profile matchup between the Portsmouth Notre Dame Titans and the Beaver Eastern Eagles. And now, to talk a little bit more about the history of the spot we're in today, I'm joined by a man who is very familiar with this area and what is going on down in Portsmouth country. Chuck Greenslate joins us. Chuck, thanks so much for hopping on.
Well, thank you for having me, Ethan. Always a pleasure.
Absolutely. Always a pleasure to have you on as well, whether it's on Friday kickoff or breaking down the games on Friday night. But tonight, we're not breaking down games. We're breaking down a little bit of history because this stadium that we're in today is truly one of the more remarkable, I guess, cathedrals of football in and around not just the 740, but I would say the entire state of Ohio. We could break things down a little bit, but let's start off. Obviously, this stadium's almost 100 years old at this point, and there's been NFL games played in this stadium. Why don't you give a little bit more background into that?
Yeah, absolutely, Ethan. This facility was constructed in 1928, and in its height, it held a capacity of 8,200 people within the actual stadium. The Portsmouth Spartans played at Spartan Municipal Stadium from 1930 up through 1933, and they are now the Detroit Lions. And what was very interesting about the Detroit Lions in their infancy is they wound up in their second year in Detroit winning an NFL championship in 1935, and quite a few of the same players that were on the Spartans team in Portsmouth 2 years earlier, they were a part of that Detroit Lions championship team. So there is a tremendous amount of history. There have been plenty of professional football games played at Spartan Stadium. Probably one of the most notable, Ethan, was a game that would later become known as the Iron Man game. It was when the Portsmouth Spartans hosted the Green Bay Packers, who had won an NFL championship the year before. And Portsmouth did not sub one single time that entire game, offense or defense. They won the game 19-0 with only 11 players used. So, yeah, the history definitely runs deep at Spartan Municipal Stadium, or Universal Stadium, as it was called then. And also, if you really think back to when this facility was constructed, if you come to Portsmouth now, you see a big flood wall levee that runs alongside the Ohio River. And, of course, it's in the southern end zone of Spartan Stadium. Well, that levee wasn't there at that time. That came about after the great 1937 flood. So you can imagine when people were here watching the Spartans back in the early 30s, to be sitting in the stands and to have a beautiful sight line of the river, which obviously that levee is very much important, as we have seen at various different times throughout history. It saves a lot of damage, but when when the Ohio River is within its banks, as it should be, and not flooding. You can just imagine what a beautiful sight that Spartan Stadium and Branch Rickey Park and all that was back in the day.
Yeah, it's a beautiful area and it's a beautiful historical site. And obviously, the Spartans of again that would eventually become the Lions were a major part of what happened there, and obviously a big part of NFL history. But this stadium's rich in high school football history as well. Portsmouth Notre Dame Titans have been playing here almost as long as those same Spartans. We discussed a game back on Wednesday. I wanted you to go in a little bit more detail about it, where they may have shattered NFL attendance records at the time in a game back in the 30s.
Yeah. You're actually right. There have been so many great high school games played at Spartan Stadium down through the years, as it was the home for many years of the Portsmouth Trojans and the Notre Dame Titans. Since Portsmouth opened up its new Coliseum, as it's referred, a few years back, it's been Notre Dame primarily calling it home, but probably the most notable high school game that ever took place at what we now refer to as Spartan Stadium occurred in 1970. That was a game where supposedly, if you believe in folklore, and sometimes stories like this, they kind of are like fishing tales. They might get a little bigger and better as time goes on. But supposedly in 1970, there was a game there between Notre Dame and the West Senators. Both were unbeaten, last game of the year, and over 10,000 people were assumed to have been there. And that flood wall levee that we discussed earlier, it was very much there in 1970. And from things I have been told, it was completely full of people who couldn't get into the stadium watching that game between two incredible football teams. Ed Miller was the coach of that particular Notre Dame team, which won the game. And that was one of the two state championship seasons, I believe, that they had at Notre Dame back in the 70s. Back then, they didn't actually have playoffs. It was done by AP vote, and Notre Dame, under the direction of Miller, won two of those back at that time. And, of course, he would go on to build the program at Wheelersburg High School into what it has evolved into today. That's the reason the stadium there at Wheelersburg is named in his honor, Ed Miller Pirate Stadium. So that's the same gentleman we're talking about there. But that 1970 game, there were some really special people that participated in that. On that Notre Dame roster was a guy by the name of Andy Glockner, who is the owner of the Glockner family of dealerships, all the car dealerships throughout Southern Ohio, and also a guy by the name of Scott Schmidt played for Notre Dame. And he owns the area Buffalo Wild Wings and many area Wendy's, the La Rosas in Jackson. So a couple of guys who went on to be great businessmen in our community. They were a part of that team. And another interesting note, the West Senators had a guy on that team named Terry Gardner, and he was a fine player for them. And in 1970, that same season that Notre Dame and West game was taking place, that was also sadly the same year of the Marshall Thundering Herd plane crash. And that following season in 1971, the NCAA changed the rules at the time just for Marshall to allow freshmen to be able to play on the college varsity football team. They actually had JV and varsity at the college level back at that day. Terry Gardner went to Marshall the very next year, and he scored the winning touchdown in Marshall's first win after the plane crash, which was against Xavier in what was Marshall's second game of the season. And if you've ever seen the movie with Matthew McConaughey, We Are Marshall, there's a lot of people here locally who take great exception to that particular movie, because in the movie they had to drag it through the Hollywood drama, and add an element or two that wasn't in reality. They had that as a winning reception when Marshall won that game. It was actually a run by Terry Gardner that enabled the Herd to get that first win back after the plane crash, and as they were picking themselves up and dusting off the ashes, so to speak. But that was one of the big ones. And I can remember Bob Ashley, former Notre Dame coach, he had sent me a picture that at the time, I assume it's still there, Notre Dame had in its locker room. It was from that game, and it was taken from the visitor sideline, and it was across the field showing the press box. And ironically enough, there was a big WNXT radio flag hanging from the press box, as that is one of our Portsmouth stations that was broadcasting that game then. And of course, we've got a WNXT crew out tonight covering a game, and a WZZZ crew covering the game that we're getting ready to witness here between Eastern Pike and Notre Dame. But it was such a cool picture, Ethan, in the sense, as you look at those stands that were completely full, it was a shot that we'll probably never see again in our lifetime, because everybody was head up, eyes forward, looking at the field. And, in this day and age, if there's something big going on, people are on their phones. They're trying to videotape it. They're trying to get the selfie with them looking at it backwards, trying to get the shot of whatever is taking place in the background. But it was such a neat black and white shot. But yes, that was a big game. But of course, there have been so many great games down through the years with Portsmouth and all the rivals, the Portsmouth and Ironton games that have been played there, the Portsmouth and Wheelersburg games that have been played there, all the Notre Dame games that have gone on at Spartan Stadium. A couple of them that jump out to me, usually East and Notre Dame play each other in week 10. And man, I've seen some great games between those two there. There was one, Justin Kreger, that played for East. He was an exceptional player for the Tartans at that time, and they lined him up in a wildcat formation. I think he took every snap and ran every down. And he wound up going for over 200 yards that night, but Notre Dame still wound up winning the game and winning the SOC as a result. And in more recent history, probably about 10 years ago, my dad and I were going over to watch a Saturday night Notre Dame game. Usually Notre Dame played its games on Saturday night back in the day because Portsmouth would typically play on Fridays. So for years, Notre Dame played every game. Even if Portsmouth was on the road the night before, they would play every game at home on Saturday. That has since changed over the years, but we were coming over to watch a game between Notre Dame and East, and we were a little late getting into the stadium because we were listening to an Ohio State game on the radio finish up, and we got in about 3 minutes into the game, and each team had already returned kickoffs back for touchdowns. The opening kickoff had been returned for a score, and then the ensuing kickoff was returned back for a score by the other team. So there's been a lot of good football played here at Spartan Stadium down through the years, and hopefully tonight's game will be no different.
I expect so. And last thing, Chuck, I know a lot of people are very anxious to see what happens with this stadium, right? There's a lot of changes potentially coming to Spartan Stadium. There's going to be a new tenant coming in here pretty soon in Shawnee State University. Yeah. They're going to be using it as their field when they get football going in 2026. So talk a little bit about the future. Obviously, it's a very old stadium that, admittedly probably needs a little bit of renovation, a little bit of touching up, so to speak. But I know a lot of people in Portsmouth are very passionate and very vocal about keeping this stadium and making sure it doesn't get demolished or taken away.
Absolutely, Ethan. History is tough to get rid of. We want to build upon it, but you also want to preserve the things that need preserving and not hold on to things that aren't in that good a shape. As the stadium is right now, it needs a lot of TLC. There's no doubt about that. It's a nearly 100-year-old stadium. Obviously, it's got problems, but manpower, money, and a strong will to succeed can solve a lot of that. And everything that Shawnee State has touched in our town has really turned into something great. They have bought several buildings on Chillicothe Street, and they've done good things with them. Everything they've done over on campus has really, really turned out great. They've done just an exceptional job of beautifying this city and that area. They recently opened up 2nd Street, enabling people to drive through there. They had it closed off for years, and opening it up, the landscaping and all that is just gorgeous the way they've done it. So I've not heard all the plans yet, but I'm sure that when it's all said and done with, it's going to look beautiful. I've heard turf is coming. I've heard a remodeled track is coming. I've heard it's going to be a place not only for the upstart football team to play in a couple years, but for the soccer team to play as well. So there's no doubt that there's going to be good things on the horizon for Spartan Stadium. Yeah. As how much of it will look as it has for its entire life, I don't know if they're going to change too much or not, but I'm sure, especially with Gerald Cadogan at the helm over there as the athletic director. Bear in mind, in addition to being a former Penn State Nittany Lion, where he played his college ball, he played his high school ball for the Portsmouth Trojans at Spartan Municipal Stadium. So not to speak for Gerald, but I can't help but think it's a place that he's very passionate about. They'll do it right. Everything they've done has been top-notch, first class. I have no doubt it'll be done right. It'll be something that Portsmouth can be even more proud of when it's all said and done with.
Yeah, it's going to be really cool to see the stadium continue to be just a pillar of football in Southeast Ohio. Chuck, thanks so much for joining us. Good luck on your game tonight.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it, Ethan. Always wonderful talking with you, and thanks for allowing us to share a little bit of Portsmouth history with you.
I think it's awesome, and it really adds to what makes this area so special. We're going to continue our previews when we do return in just a second. You're listening to Football Friday Kickoff, presented by Slark's Automotive Services.
You're invited to the 50th Annual Athens
At
Invitational
Clark's
Marching
Collision
Festival.
Center, we're more than a body shop. We're your neighbors, right here at the intersection of US 32 and State Route 93. We're proud to serve Jackson with honest work and hometown care. Locally owned and community trusted, our team of technicians combine years of experience with the latest technology, delivering quality repairs every time. Seamless repairs and stress-free claims. Our friendly team of experts work directly with insurance companies, so you don't have to, getting you safely back on the road. Visit us at 965 East Main Street in Jackson, Ohio, right at the intersection of US 32 and State Route 93, and experience our commitment to excellence. The Slarks Automotive family, here for you when you need us.
It takes determination to create a successful business. It's never easy, but always worth it. It takes making a leap of faith. It takes patience and late nights to reinvest in a startup. But it also takes asking for guidance from dependable people, all to turn a dream into a reality. People's Bank, working together, building success.
Hi, my name is Isaac Slark.
I'm Max Gentry.
And I'm Dayton Neff.
Together, we founded Southern Iowa Souls, a nonprofit helping students in need.
We work in 28 school buildings to identify students in need of a new pair of shoes, then deliver shoes to those students to help them learn, play, and grow confidently. Since our beginning in 2023, we've been able to donate nearly 400 pairs of brand name sneakers. Without support from our community, this simply wouldn't be possible.
Scan the QR code or visit www.southerniowaSouls.com to donate today.
Willis Advantage Property Solutions delivers dependable, full-service property maintenance you can trust. We specialize in asphalt repair, infrared patching, surface cleaning, parking lot striping, and powerful hydrojet drain cleaning, serving industrial, commercial, and residential customers across the region. From small fixes to large-scale projects, we get the job done right, on time, and on budget. Call now for your free consultation at 740-577-4574. Willis Advantage Property Solutions. We protect and maintain what matters.
At Slark's Collision Center, we're more than a body shop. We're your neighbors, right here at the intersection of US 32 and State Route 93. We're proud to serve Jackson with honest work and hometown care. Locally owned and community trusted, our team of technicians combine years of experience with the latest technology, delivering quality repairs every time. Seamless repairs and stress-free claims. Our friendly team of experts work directly with insurance companies, so you don't have to, getting you safely back on the road. Visit us at 965 East Main Street in Jackson, Ohio, right at the intersection of US 32 and State Route 93, and experience our commitment to excellence. The Slarks Automotive family, here for you when you need us.
You've been watching Football Friday Night, sponsored by Slarks Automotive Services.
Kickoff. Thanks a whole lot to Chuck Greenslade for getting us in there and letting me have a chance to chat with him. I hope you learned a little something about the history of Spartan Municipal, because this beautiful stadium truly is a sight to behold, but it does, in truth, need a couple of repairs. And Shawnee State, again, all the credit to them. They're going to come in. They're going to do a whole lot of great work here to help make this historical site a sight to behold again.
Yeah, they will. And Chuck mentioned Shawnee State Athletic Director Gerald Cadogan, who played right here on this field. I had the unfortunate displeasure of being on the other side of the football from Gerald Cadogan. He's a huge man that played football at Penn State, and he cares about his community quite a bit. I know Shawnee State's really excited about the future of this place as well, with it being in their hands.
Yeah, it's going to be a whole lot of fun as we're starting to see some blue and gold as well as some white and brown enter the arena. The Eagles are out on the far side getting ready to go. You can spot Eric Manley from half a field away with how tall that quarterback is. Let's talk a little bit about this game first. Let's do this preview between, because we're not going to have a ton of time to talk about it later on when we do our game picks. Beaver Eastern reports Notre Dame. The interesting discussion for tonight, and we talked about this with a couple people now, is Ethan Kingery, great name, has been out for the majority of the season with what is rumored to be a collarbone injury. Now, there is potentially a chance tonight that he is back for reports of Notre Dame. However, Luke Cassidy has come in at the quarterback spot and been really good. I mean, they're only averaging a cool 57 points over their last 3 games. So the question is now, do you disrupt the continuity of the offense, or do you go back to your all-district quarterback in Ethan Kingery, or maybe you do a little bit of both?
Yeah, I mean, I think in a game like this, nothing's off the table, right? I think you come out with Cassidy, who's been the hot hand. I think you reinstill Kingery a little more leisurely. That's a big body to use to your advantage in other spots. 6'2", 220. When he's running downhill at quarterback, he's something to stop. But I think that he's an athlete that'll be able to open up some things offensively, but defensively, he's a force at defensive end. I know that's a concern for Eastern tonight, so we'll see what his true impact in the game is, but it'll be fun to watch a quarterback spot.
Yeah, he's going to be good. Eric Manley's going to be good. We're talking about Beaver Eastern in just a second. You look at what Portsmouth Notre Dame has done on the body of the ground. They had 10 touchdowns last week. How about 0 passing scores? All 10 of those scores against Green on the ground. They got a good kicker, too. Hit all 10 of the extra points, and they were up, I believe, 56-0 at halftime of that game. So they were rolling again. Look, Green's a down program, but they were rolling in that matchup. Let's now flip the script over to the Eagles. Eric Manley's been nothing short of spectacular once again. The rushing numbers maybe haven't been quite as good. We talked about this in the preseason about how he kind of expected those rushing numbers weren't going to be as crazy. He wasn't going to score 45-plus touchdowns by himself this year. You want to know why? Because he's got help. Right?
He's
got guys for that. How about Jack Montgomery in the backfield? He's got 11 touchdowns and 750 yards on the ground. And then he's got 4 wide receivers, all with 12 catches, 150-plus yards, and 1 or more touchdowns. And it all starts with Boston Webb. He is the guy on the outside. 28 catches for 650 yards. That's 23.2 yards a pop and 10 scores. And those 3 other receivers to keep an eye on, Carson Peters, Trey Kelly, and Benjamin Bauer. All 3 of those guys are going to see targets tonight. They spread the ball around. They've got a great balance. And the scary thing about this Eagle team, they were rusty to start the year. I think they would admit that. A 13-6 scraping by against South Point, a game against Huntington that, by all accounts, they probably should have lost if it weren't for some very late heroics from Eric Manley. But ever since then, my goodness, it has been fantastic for them. They have scored 40 or more points.
Is back.
He is.
I can confirm with the neck roll.
He is a big body.
He is back.
And he's got
a large human.
It's a large human. He's got a great little neck brace on him as well.
Ready to rock,
and he is ready to roll.
Sorry to cut you off.
It's important breaking news. It's important news. The big thing for this game, right? Eastern to score 40 or more points in every game since that matchup with Huntington. They had 2 games where they didn't get over that mark. Since then, they've had 40 or more points. They haven't given up more than double-digit points in over a month. Which offense is going to break first? Feels like the difference today. I also said this on the Athens County game of the Athens County preview show when I was discussing this game briefly. We don't gamble on these games. Please don't. But if there were an over line, it would be set in the 80s, and I might hammer it.
Yeah. Well, and for Beaver Eastern, this is a defense, rather, that's giving up, I think, 1 varsity touchdown in the last 4 weeks. So, I mean, they're playing great defensive football as well, and the difference is going to be, as we say each week, cliche, but it's going to become what's going on in the trenches. Both teams have great athletes on the offensive side of the football. You mentioned what Eastern does there. Eric Manley's not stingy with the football. He'll get it to where he needs to get it, but you're right. The receiving corps is led by Boston Webb. He does great things. this is going to come down to 5 guys on the offensive side and 5 guys on the defensive side. And I'll give you a hint, they're closest to the football.
And the other thing about it is numbers as well, right? Notre Dame, these are both small schools right there. They don't have 50 guys on the sidelines, right? It's going to be about managing the bodies tonight, making sure we're not cramping, making sure we're in business, right? As Notre Dame, I'm sure they have more guys on their roster, right?
Oh yeah, of course.
Like
yeah.
There's
this
just,
looks like this looks like specialty.
It might be,
right
yeah.
now.
And look,
Returners,
Kingery is
long
out there.
snappers,
That's the big thing. Kingery is out there, and that is big news for tonight. Let's preview
yeah.
one more game before we head into our break before the 6 o'clock hour. Eastern takes on Trimble. This is the Bend game of the week on 92.1 WVYK. Trimble's been a little iffy recently, and I talked to Coach Phil Ferris on the Athens County Coaches Show earlier this week. He said, look, we've had our ups, we've had our downs, but we feel like we're settling in at the right time. They're 5-2. They've got a quarterback who wasn't a quarterback before the season, and Paul Sharp, he had to step in. He has learned so much over the course of the year, and he says, quote, he continues to grow, learn, and develop as a quarterback, and he's been making less mistakes, and he's been more physical. And look, if there was one word I could use to describe the Trimble Tomcats, it's physical. They're getting a big body back tonight, Trevor Gowen. He is back. He is healthy, and that is a big deal for this Tomcat squad because they're going to want to establish that identity in that wishbone, and they're going to want to run the football.
Yeah, I mean, that's really what it's all about, right? And it starts with, Luke Osborne's got 15 touchdowns on the year. The offense goes through him. He'll probably cross 1,000 yards this evening. Eastern's got some big bodies, though. They got some really big kids up front.
Number 9 if Trimble were able to get the W. Keep an eye out for Braxton Yonker at quarterback tonight. Physical at the position. They lost a lot at the running back spot, so they've had a little bit of running back by committee. You've got a couple of guys, Edwards, their former quarterback, Ethan Edwards, he plays a little running back. Parker Durst has come in. Bryson Schuler has come in. They've got a lot of different bodies out there in that backfield. And Jason Jackson, if there's one thing he knows how to do, it's build a hard-nosed and nasty offensive line, and they continue to try and play to that mantra this season. We're going to step aside when we come back. It is very nearly game pick time. We've got a lot of games to go through on this sheet. This stack is thick. We're going to go through all the big matchups around the area, break them all down, and pick them all for you here. You're listening to Football Friday Kickoff.
It takes determination to create a successful business. It's never easy, but always worth it. It takes making a leap of faith. It takes patience and late nights to reinvest in a startup. But it also takes asking for guidance from dependable people. All to turn a dream into a reality. People's Bank, working together, building success.
At Slark's Collision Center, we're more than a body shop. We're your neighbors, right here at the intersection of US 32 and State Route 93. We're proud to serve Jackson with honest work and hometown care. Locally owned and community trusted, our team of technicians combine years of experience with the latest technology, delivering quality repairs every time. Seamless repairs and stress-free claims. Our friendly team of experts work directly with insurance companies, so you don't have to, getting you safely back on the road. Visit us at 965 East Main Street in Jackson, Ohio, right at the intersection of US 32 and State Route 93, and experience our commitment to excellence. The Slarks Automotive Family, here for you when you need us.
Hi, my name is Isaac Slark.
I'm Max Gentry.
And I'm Dane Neff.
Together, we founded Southern Iowa Souls, a nonprofit helping students in need.
We work in 28 school buildings to identify students in need of a new pair of shoes, then deliver shoes to those students to help them learn, play, and grow confidently.
Since our beginning in 2023, we've been able to donate nearly 400 pairs of brand name sneakers. Without support from our community, this simply wouldn't be possible.
Scan the QR code or visit www.southerniowasouls.com to donate today.
Willis Advantage Property Solutions delivers dependable, full-service property maintenance you can trust. We specialize in asphalt repair, infrared patching, surface cleaning, parking lot striping, and powerful hydrojet drain cleaning, serving industrial, commercial, and residential customers across the region. From small fixes to large-scale projects, we get the job done right, on time, and on budget. Call now for your free consultation at 740-577-4574. Willis Advantage Property Solutions. We protect and maintain what matters.
You've been watching Football Friday Night, sponsored by Slark's Automotive Services.
Yeah.
We roll into the 6 o'clock hour, presented by Drizzy Drake and presented by Slarks Automotive Services. Huge shout out to all of our sponsors that help make this show possible, and we wouldn't be able to do it without them. Well, real quick preview one more game that I wanted to discuss very briefly. This is a big one in the OVC. Portsmouth takes on Rock Hill. The winner of this game gives themselves a monstrous chance, especially if it's Portsmouth, gives themselves a big chance to win this conference. Portsmouth has had, and I wrote this word down when I talked about the Portsmouth Trojans, streaky. Streaky has been the theme of them this year. They've strung back-to-back wins together multiple times, but then it's always followed with a loss, right? And they've had some great wins. Portsmouth West win looks better and better every week, right? They have gotten some big ones. This would be the biggest one. However, history is on the side of the Trojans. They've won 12 of the 13 games that these two teams have played. The only win for Rock Hill was in 2015. It was a 38-14 victory on that day for the Redmen. Going to be interesting to see how Portsmouth's defense stacks up against that rushing attack for Rock Hill tonight.
Yeah, it is. Dallin Cox, he's the one that leads the way for the Rock Hill Redmen. He does some nice things. He can throw the ball. He can run the ball. For Portsmouth, you really don't want him getting comfortable back there, because when he's throwing the ball there for huge plays, I think his passing average is somewhere in the ballpark of about 21 yards per completion. So he's working off of play action. He's trying to hit you on the big play. For Portsmouth, shut down the run. Your secondary won't fall asleep on the defensive side. You'll be okay. But yeah, it all starts with him. They do have a pretty good run offense. Tony Love and his team have a huge opportunity, not only for tonight, but to change history in this matchup. We'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see
I
what
love
happens.
that. They have a big chance to potentially, stamp themselves, right at the top of the OVC. And then look, with them and with Coal Grove unbeaten right now in the conference, setting up for what might be a huge clash in week number 10 between the Hornets and the Redmen. Could be a really big one in that one. Let's jump into our game picks. You'll see you just saw on our stream just a second ago, we had some of those games up. Let's jump into what we're looking forward to tonight. We'll start out, as we do, in the Twin State League first. Twin State League Conference matchup week of the year. Fort Fry takes on Marietta today. The Cadets have been rolling ever since that week 1 loss.
It's a shame this is the matchup of the year in this league, but you're exactly right. Fort Fry is going to get it done over Marietta in a huge way. I'm saying 4 touchdowns, 5 touchdowns anyway.
Yeah, that Fort Fry defense has been nothing short of fantastic over the last few weeks. I think it continues tonight. Give me the Cadets. Let's jump to the OVC real quick. South Point is taking on Coal Grove. We talked about them just a second ago. They got to keep winning. Can they get it done tonight against the Pointers?
Yeah, I think they will. Coal Grove's got some big South Point's got some big bodies, but Coal Grove's got Caden Turner. What more do you need to say?
Let's stay in the OVC. Let's jump to that matchup we just discussed over on 95.7 WNXT. Portsmouth takes on Rock Hill. By the way, I'm also going Coal Grove. Sometimes I jump the gun.
I figured you would.
Sometimes I jump the gun. I'm going with the Hornets on that one. This one's a little bit tougher to pick, in my opinion. Portsmouth taking on Rock Hill. Really, really tight game. Drew Pastor's got this spread in terms of his point projections at just 5 points.
You could flip a coin on this game. I'll go with the side of history in the hot hand, which is Fernando Pocius right now. You mentioned what he did a week ago, a little earlier. 200 yards, 5 touchdowns on 31, 32 carries, whatever it was. He's the real deal. Give me Portsmouth on the road.
He's become that bell cow that they so desperately needed, right? You
needed
think about what Chase Highland did for them last year, even what JT Williams did. And to be fair to Marquez Locklear, he just hasn't had a ton of help. Now he's getting that help, and he's been much better. Chuck Greenslate, when I talked to him, obviously we talked about a full lot of football after and before that conversation. He mentioned, look, from what I saw from Locklear last week, the improvement is so tangible because he has been able to have more time and he can make decisions. And that is helping him out big time. So I am also rolling with Portsmouth in this matchup. I think they're going to rely on Pohez. I think they're going to get it done tonight. And look, Rock Hill could prove a lot of people wrong tonight. That's all I'll say. So the challenge has been laid forward to the Redmen. Let's jump over to the SOC here. We'll go in the 1 and the 2. We'll start out in the 1 where Sims Valley takes on Side of Elise. We're going to do a 2-for-1 here. Sims Valley takes on Side of Elise. South Galley takes on Green. There's 2 obvious winners here.
Yeah, Give me the home teams there. South Gallia, Sims Valley, both going to do big things.
Yeah, I think Sims Valley even more so. They're coming off of a tough loss, first loss of the year last week. I think that offense will jump out and do some big things this week. South Gallia, I think, will also come back. They got a win last week, but they're going to bounce back in a big way. Let's jump up to the SOC2. Portsmouth West hasn't lost in the league yet.
Yeah.
Looking to go to 5-3 against Northwest.
Yeah, they are. That's a huge game just right down the road here in McDermott tonight. I'll take the Senators on the road. They've been doing some good things. Braden Adkins, a huge game a week ago. We talked about what he did. Give me the Senators to win this one over the Mohawks.
Yeah, I'm going with Portsmouth West as well. I feel like they're just going to keep stacking. They got their eyes on Wheelersburg week. You can't look ahead. We've talked about that a lot today. You can't look ahead, but I think they've got their eyes on the bird. A couple more matchups in the SOC2. How about Oak Hill taking on Valley?
Yeah, I mean, this is going to go Valley's way all night long. Oak Hill, you got your win on the year, but Valley's got a lot more going for it.
Yeah, I think that Valley offense, I think they might run for 250-plus yards today on that Oak Hill squad. Give me the Indians. Wheelersburg taking on Waverly. Waverly, big emotional high last week. They got that big dub in Tiger Town, which I'm sure felt real good for that squad. But this Wheelersburg animal is a different beast.
Yeah, it is. They got to shock the world tonight to get it done over this Berg squad. Give me Berg by whatever they want tonight.
Yeah, I am going to take Wheelersburg tonight. I think the starters will be out of this game pretty quickly. Let's jump to the SOC now. Westfall is taking on Huntington. Slightly important game. We talked about this a little earlier in the show. It's got a lot of playoff implications as well as those conference implications. Westfall looking to try and stay live. By the way, they play Unioto Week 10. They could set themselves up for a very interesting Week 10 matchup.
Yeah, for Westfall, expect a lot of Joey Wright, number 6. He's going to be carrying the football a lot. Shut down the Buck sweep. You'll be okay in the township. I expect the Mustangs to get a win on the road.
Yeah, I'm going to go. I checked Huntington here.
Okay.
And it's interesting because you mentioned that sweep. Look, there is this is going to go a lot of the older audience here. The reference I'm about to make. There's an anime that I watched. It's called Demon Slayer. There's a character in it called Zenitsu. His thing is that he can only do one move, and he's really, really, really good at doing that one move. That is what I'm going with here. I think that Buck sweep's going to work. I've watched it on film. They've got some animals up front. I think that they're going to get that going tonight. I think that the Huntsmen get it done in that one. Let's go to Zane Trace and Southeastern. The Pioneers coming off that tough loss to the Unioto Sherman Tanks. Going to look try and bounce back on the road at Ross.
Yeah, tough slate for Larry Willoughby and his staff. I think Zane Trace does exactly that. They bounce back tonight. They get a tough win over in Londonderry.
Yeah, Zane Trace won the last 5 that these two have played. I think they'll make it 6 tonight. Give me the Pioneers. Unioto taking on Paint Valley. Obviously been a struggle of a year for the Bearcats, losing their head coach, losing a lot of players. And Unioto, actually, Paint Valley leads this series 36-30-1. But Unioto's won the last 3. I don't think there's any reason for them to not make it 4 tonight.
Yeah, I think Unioto's pitching another shutout tonight in Bainbridge myself.
Yeah, I think they will get it done. Let's go to 103.7 WMPO. By the way, you can listen to that game on 100.9 WXIZ. And then that Portsmouth West game taking on Northwest, that'll be on 99.3 WNXT. I believe Chuck Greenslade will be on the call for that matchup. So you want to hear all the great things that he does. That's the place to find him. Megs is taking on Minford tonight over on 103.7 WMPO. These two have had a couple of non-conference battles over the years. Gunnar Cleveland, Griffin Hudson, and that Megs offense looking to try and get things going against the Falcons.
Yeah, I think it's a good spot for them tonight. I think that's exactly what's in store. I think the Marauders get it done right over on Route 335 over in Minford.
Yep, I'm right with you there. I think that Meg's going to use that offense to their best effect. I think they're going to get it done in that matchup. We're going to step aside here one final time on Football Friday Kickoff. We actually have 2 more breaks. We got 2 more breaks, but we're going to step aside one more time. We're going to come back, do the rest of our picks, then step aside one final time. We'll get to, of course, our final pick between the Notre Dame Titans and the Beaver Eastern Eagles. Teams are getting ready right behind us. I got to say, I really like the Notre Dame colorway. I think it's clean. That nice navy blue suits well. You got, of course, the iconic brown and white over there on the far side. I see Coach Tomlinson running his offensive line boys through the motions as we speak, and we're getting ready for football here at Spartan Municipal Stadium. And it's weird that the sun is actually starting to go down before 6 p.m.
Yeah.
So, we're rolling, and we are into week number 8, and the seasons are starting to change. Just a little bit of fall chill. Just a little bit's all I ask for. We're getting it a little bit as we go today. But we'll step aside here. We'll come back with some more of those game picks. You're listening to Football Friday Kickoff.
At Slark's Collision Center, we're more than a body shop. We're your neighbors, right here at the intersection of US 32 and State Route 93. We're proud to serve Jackson with honest work and hometown care. Locally owned and community trusted, our team of technicians combine years of experience with the latest technology, delivering quality repairs every time. Seamless repairs and stress-free claims. Our friendly team of experts work directly with insurance companies, so you don't have to, getting you safely back on the road. Visit us at 965 East Main Street in Jackson, Ohio, right at the intersection of US 32 and State Route 93, and experience our commitment to excellence. The Slarks Automotive family, here for you when you need us.
It takes determination to create a successful business. It's never easy, but always worth it. It takes making a leap of faith. It takes patience and late nights to reinvest in a startup. But it also takes asking for guidance from dependable people. All to turn a dream into a reality. People's Bank. Working together, building success.
Hi, my name is Isaac Slurk.
I'm Max Gentry.
And I'm Dan Neff.
Together, we founded Southern Iowa Souls, a nonprofit helping students in need.
We work in 28 school buildings to identify students in need of a new pair of shoes, then deliver shoes to those students to help them learn, play, and grow confidently.
Since our beginning in 2023, we've been able to donate nearly 400 pairs of brand name sneakers. Without support from our community, this simply wouldn't be possible.
Scan the QR code or visit www.southerniosouls.com to donate today.
Willis Advantage Property Solutions delivers dependable, full-service property maintenance you can trust. We specialize in asphalt repair, infrared patching, surface cleaning, parking lot striping, and powerful hydrojet drain cleaning, serving industrial, commercial, and residential customers across the region. From small fixes to large-scale projects, we get the job done right, on time and on budget. Call now for your free consultation at 740-577-4574. Willis Advantage Property Solutions. We protect and maintain what matters.
At Slark's Collision Center, we're more than a body shop. We're your neighbors, right here at the intersection of US 32 and State Route 93. We're proud to serve Jackson with honest work and hometown care. Locally owned and community trusted, our team of technicians combine years of experience with the latest technology, delivering quality repairs every time. Seamless repairs and stress-free claims. Our friendly team of experts work directly with insurance companies, so you don't have to, getting you safely back on the road. Visit us at 965 East Main Street in Jackson, Ohio, right at the intersection of US 32 and State Route 93, and experience our commitment to excellence. The Slarks Automotive family, here for you when you need us.
You've been watching Football Friday Night, sponsored by Slarks Automotive Services.
Through all of the high school games we've got on our radar today. Of course, over 300 games around the state. Make sure to tune in to Eric and Company tonight on Football Friday Night. They'll have you updated on all the matchups, all the scores, and maybe even a couple of special guests and returners on tonight's show, perhaps. Gonna have to tune in to find out who's on Football Friday Night this evening. I'm gonna be sticking around here. You can go check out Total Media Sports on Facebook. I'll have you covered all night long with all the coverage you need from here. We're gonna talk to the winning coach after the game. I'll also have plenty of interviews and footage from this matchup this evening. Let's jump back into some of our game picks. Let's jump real quick back to the Twin State League. Got to get one more game there. This one's over on 94.1 WTHQ. I believe that's correct. The Point Pleasant. That is the they're still in search of their first win, the Black Knights. They're looking to try to get it today against the Warren Warriors. Heartbreak last week for them against John Marshall.
Yeah, it was, and Warren seems more poised to get this one done. I've got to roll with the Warren Warriors, but for the Big Blacks, we're pulling for you to get that first one.
Yeah, I mean, look, history's on their side a little bit in this one. They won this game 44-13 last year. They've beaten Warren 9 of the 17 times that they've played them. Let's jump down to the TVC here. A couple of matchups. Belpre takes on Southern.
Yeah, for Southern, that's just this is a winnable contest, one of the more winnable contests you've had this season. But I'm going to take Belpre, the 2-5 Golden Eagles on the road to get it done.
I like that. I think Southern's offense has been their strong point this year. I think they're going to get it going tonight. I think they're going to put up 40-plus points.
Ooh.
I just don't know. I think Belpre can score.
Yeah.
I just don't know if they're going to be able to get it going in that same way. I think
Yeah.
Southern get it done tonight. Federal Hocking's dealing with a lot of injuries right now.
They
Again,
are.
with them, it's just about building that program continually. They got a tough test tonight. Their first meeting with Waterford since 2018. Waterford actually leads the series only by 3 games, but Waterford should be able to get it done tonight.
Yeah, no reason to think otherwise. Give me Waterford by a lot.
Yep, I think Waterford will be able to get it done. Let's stick in the TVC. A couple more games here. Those 2 big dogs. Let's talk about them in the TVC Ohio. Athens is taking on Wellston tonight on the road. Anthony Sutton actually played last week. That's an important clarification to make. We mentioned that last week. He was dealing with an injury. He is still dealing with said injury, but he only rushed for the 4 rushing touchdowns last week in that win for Athens. So keep an eye on what he does and how they manage him. That's the key thing for the Bulldogs. Daniel Heitland's back, though. He's been fantastic since he's returned. I believe only like 7 or 8 incomplete passes total since he's been back. So keep an eye on the Bulldogs. They're going to look to try and get it done tonight against Williston. They should be able to, can they?
Yeah, they should, and I'm not sure how much they'll need either guy in Wellston to get it done. They could probably both be sitting at C.H. Jones Field at halftime. Give me Athens by a lot.
Yep, I think the Bulldogs are going to take care of business. I think like they have really the last couple weeks, and it's kind of my concern about the Bulldogs is how ready they're going to be. It's a very minor concern. I know Coach Nathan White well. He's going to have those boys ready to go whenever they need to be ready to go. Speaking of teams that are going to be ready to go, on Pure Rock 105, WXTQ, my guys, Tad and Daniel will be ready to go with Nelsonville, York, and Alexander. They'll come on right after we're done here on Football Friday Kickoff. This is a battle of teams who are over 500. Alexander's been a pleasant surprise this year at 4-3. Really like what Coach Corey Bean is doing with that Alexander squad, but boy, is history on the Buckeyes side in this game. Alexander fans going to want to cover your ears for this one. 52 meetings between these two schools all time. Nelsonville York leads this series 49-2-1. Wow. Alexander has won twice. It was in 2015 and it was in 2009. Those were both shutout wins, and both of those games were in Albany, which is where tonight's game is. So that's a little bit of history going for the Spartans. The tie was in 1974, but the Buckeyes come in with that 7-0 record. Can they keep it going in 2025?
Yeah, I think they do, and I think they do in big fashion. There's not enough of a formula for Alexander to get a win over this Buckeyes squad. Even in the air, if they're the ball Alec Thompson, you come away with great things. So, I mean, they run the football. We talk about that all the time, but they can do whatever they need to do. I think they will tonight.
Yeah, those 3 backs, right? You've got everything that Austin Gautier does. I mean, he's got over 850 yards on the year, and then you've got 2 other guys, and Dakota Cunningham, Walter Stone. The so interesting thing about the 2 of those guys is Dakota Cunningham, he's a freak on the inside when it comes to the blocking, right? He just eats those tackles. He's that lead blocker on a lot of those long Gautier runs. You'll see Cunningham running through and plugging that first gap. And then Walker Stone, man, this guy is just a live wire.
Yeah.
Like, whenever he touches the football, look out. He is a home run hitter in every sense of the word. So they've got a lot of dominant players in that backfield. They've got an offensive line led by Will Owenthal, which is just phenomenal.
Yeah.
And again, all the credit to the Buckeyes because they've been about as good as they can be so far this season. Big game over on WYVK. Important clarification there. The Bend, they're going to have a good one tonight in Gloucester. It's a little bit of a far trip for those guys. They're not quite down by the Bend, but it is a huge game for some of those teams down by the Bend. Beaver Eastern's right behind me. This is Eastern Megs. This is the same, different Eagles, same stripes, different Eagles. They're taking on the Trimble Tomcats. A little bit of a classic TVC rivalry. Trimble historically has dominated this game, but recently it's been more of the Eastern way. They've won the last 3 meetings after Trimble won the previous 21 matchups between the 2 schools.
Yeah, and you mentioned it. This is going to be a great football game. I think it's the TVC game of the night, regardless of what division you're looking in. It's going to be a fun football game. I think Eastern Megs on the road will use those big bodies. Ethan Edwards, Matt Markham, Mason Shepard, those big bodies. I think that'll be the difference tonight. They'll get it done in Gloucester over the Tomcats.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a low-scoring game, to be honest with you. I think that the defenses are going to take center stage in this game, and I think that Eastern just about is going to be able to get it done. A tight game, though. I'm thinking maybe 10 points is the max margin of victory in this one. Let's jump down to the FAC. 3 very big games. We'll start out with Miami Trace. They're taking on McLean.
Yeah, Miami Trace, McLean. Miami Trace, no reason to think that they're not going to do great things on the road. They've done great things all season. Give me the rolling Panthers offense on the road.
I'm going with Trace as well. Hillsborough taking on Chillicothe. Can the Cavs keep up their momentum led by Carte Ligon after last week's big win over Courthouse?
I think they do. I don't like what I'm seeing from from Hillsborough in the run game, and that's exactly what Chillicothe does. Give me the Cavaliers.
Yep, I'm going with the Cavs on that one as well. And then Jackson Courthouse. Big look-ahead spot for the Ironmen with that big one with Trace Lumen next week. Do they get it done on the road against a very good Courthouse offense?
Yeah, I think they do. I think they use their own physicality early. I look for Coach Hall to establish a lot of different looks, personnels, formations, grouping, unbalanced looks, all kinds of silly things. Throw it all at Courthouse tonight. I think he comes away with the win
I
on the
think
road.
Bodie Wolford's experience tonight is going to be key for Jackson. If they can get a lead and force that Washington Courthouse team to play from behind, there have been 5 interceptions thrown by Sam Pfeiffer this year. I could see 1 or 2 more potentially going the way of the Ironmen. Couple of quick games we got to tie back into the end here. Chesapeake Galley Academy, I expect that the Blue Devils get win number 3.
Yeah, we'll hear from Dalton Jarrell here in postgame. There's a little hint for you. But yeah, Galley Academy at home. I got no reason to think they don't come away with a win at Memorial Field.
Yeah, I think the Blue Devils get it done. Over on WIRO, the Ironton Fighting Tigers are back in the state of Ohio, taking on a few familiar OVC foes of the next couple weeks. They start out with the 3-4 Fairland Dragons.
Yeah, they're independent now, but the butt whoopings stay the same regardless of conference. I'll take the Fighting Tigers over the Dragons tonight.
Yep, I'm going to take that as well. River Valley takes on Vinton County. This is back in the TVC. This is over on 97.7 WYRO.
Raiders, Vikings in MacArthur. Give me Vinton County at home.
Yep, I think VC will get it done in that one as well. One more game before we head to the break. It's Adena and Piketon. Missed this one as we were getting through the shuffle. This one's over on ZXQ, 100.1 WZXQ, the home of the Piketon Red Streaks.
Yeah, Piketon's going to do some good things tonight at home. I like what I've seen from Adena, but Piketon's got the run game. Give me the Red Streaks.
Yep, I think that run game and that goalie name at quarterback going to do some good things for the Red Streaks. We're going to step aside, but when we come back, we got to talk about the big game here at Spartan Municipal. 2 of the best small schools, 2 of the best schools in Region 28 go head-to-head for conference and playoff supremacy. We're going to talk about it when we come back and pick this matchup. You're listening to Football Friday Kickoff.
At Slark's Collision Center, we're more than a body shop. We're your neighbors, right here at the intersection of US 32 and State Route 93. We're proud to serve Jackson with honest work and hometown care. Locally owned and community trusted, our team of technicians combine years of experience with the latest technology, delivering quality repairs every time. Seamless repairs and stress-free claims. Our friendly team of experts work directly with insurance companies, so you don't have to, getting you safely back on the road. Visit us at 965 East Main Street in Jackson, Ohio, right at the intersection of US 32 and State Route 93, and experience our commitment to excellence. The Slarks Automotive Family, here for you when you need us.
It takes determination to create a successful business. It's never easy, but always worth it. It takes making a leap of faith. It takes patience and late nights to reinvest in a startup. But it also takes asking for guidance from dependable people. All to turn a dream into a reality. People's Bank. Working together, building success.
Hi, my name is Isaac Slark.
I'm Max Gentry.
And I'm Dayton Neff.
Together, we founded Southern Iowa Souls, a nonprofit helping students in need.
We work in 28 school buildings to identify students in need of a new pair of shoes, then deliver shoes to those students to help them learn, play, and grow confidently.
Since our beginning in 2023, we've been able to donate nearly 400 pairs of brand name sneakers. Without support from our community, this simply wouldn't be possible.
Scan the QR code or visit www.southerniosouls.com to donate today.
Willis Advantage Property Solutions delivers dependable, full-service property maintenance you can trust. We specialize in asphalt repair, infrared patching, surface cleaning, parking lot striping, and powerful hydrojet drain cleaning, serving industrial, commercial, and residential customers across the region. From small fixes to large-scale projects, we get the job done right, on time, and on budget. Call now for your free consultation at 740-577-4574. Willis Advantage Property Solutions. We protect and maintain what matters.
It takes determination to create a successful business. It's never easy, but always worth it. It takes making a leap of faith. It takes patience and late nights to reinvest in a startup. But it also takes asking for guidance from dependable people, all to turn a dream into a reality. People's Bank, working together, building success.
You've been watching Football Friday Night, sponsored by Slarks Automotive Services.
Or so minutes left with you here on Football Friday Kickoff, and as the Notre Dame Titans walk into the locker room behind us, let's preview this matchup a little bit here in these last couple minutes. I'll toss it to you here. Yeah. You've got a couple of keys for this matchup. Let's start out with the visitors, the Beaver Eastern Eagles.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. For the Beaver Eastern Eagles, my opinion, your strength all season long has been your offensive and defensive fronts. That's been your advantage in every game. It's been your factor in every game that on paper has been close and every blowout in between. I think that they need to neutralize the line of scrimmage, make sure that they own that portion of the game. I think they'll be just fine tonight.
Yeah,
that'll be the difference.
I think for them that is going to be key. You got to just you know what you're good at. That's what I said it a second ago with Huntington about knowing what that buck sweep is coming. Right. What Beaver Eastern could do is they have that balance offensively, and that is so tough to stop. It doesn't matter who you put in front of them. So got to keep sticking with that. Find that balance between Montgomery in the run game and Manley and company in the pass game, and see what you could do. Yeah. Let's flip the script to the other side. Kingery is back. That's the big news for the Notre Dame Titans. How much will he be used, and how much of a key is he tonight?
He's a huge key. If I'm Beaver Eastern, he's going to take me to the football if he's not playing quarterback. And if he is playing quarterback, then guess what? He's holding the football. Go to it anyway. But for Portsmouth Notre Dame, they've got to convert on third down. Third down's huge. If you want to move the ball, change field position, even if you'll come away with points, make drives long for the Beaver Eastern offense, and don't make any mistakes yourself. Third down, don't make any mistakes. You give yourself a chance of ending this streak.
Yeah, it's a huge game, and it's going to be a whole lot of fun. The most interesting thing, we started the show off with this, and I think it's funny to come full circle and end it off as well. The last time that Beaver Eastern lost in the regular season, they've lost a couple of playoff games, was to this Notre Dame squad, and it was on October 7th, 2022. That was 1,099 days ago. That was the last time they lost in the conference, the last time they lost in the regular season at all. Since then, they have been perfect in the regular season. They had 2 more wins that year in the regular season. They've had back-to-back unbeaten 10-0 regular seasons, 10-0, 10-0, 20, 22, and then you add another 7 this year. How about 29 straight unbeaten games? Do they continue that? Do they get it to 30?
You know, they've been good to us here at Portsmouth Notre Dame, Sarge, but the streak stands and the birds fly if you get to the game.
You said it until proven otherwise. We've said it all year long. If you follow along with Football Friday Kickoff, Football Friday Night, until proven otherwise, it's the Beaver Eastern Eagles. They're going to get it done tonight. I think they'll win a tight game. I think Notre Dame's going to have a great fight. Thanks so much for tuning in to Football Friday Kickoff. Tune in to Eric and company on Football Friday Night a little later on this evening. Enjoy your high school football this evening, and Eric and company will catch you on Football Friday Night. We'll be on the Facebook covering and getting all your coverage needs. Have a great Friday, everybody.
This has been Football Friday Night from the